There's a kind of distance that doesn't look like distance. It doesn't come with block numbers or dramatic exits. It comes quietly, in the form of slow replies, pulled back energy, cancelled plans, disappearing eye contact, and a heart that suddenly feels 3 steps behind its own body. People often mistake it for coldness, indifference, or emotional immaturity. But the truth is far more painful than that. When you push people away, it's rarely because you don't care. It's because you care too much, and closeness has always been the place where pain was born. You don't run from love because you hate it. You run because the last time you trusted it, it didn't stay. It turned into abandonment, betrayal, silence, or something you never recovered from. Most people think pushing someone away is a choice. But for many, it's not a decision. It's a reflex, the nervous system defending itself before the heart even gets a chance to speak. You don't think, I will sabotage this connection. Your body just pulls back. Your voice goes quiet. Your walls rise automatically, almost like muscle memory. Because long before you learned how to love, you learned how to protect yourself from being hurt. And that's the part no one sees. The distance isn't coldness. It's scar tissue. When someone gets too close, it triggers something that says, this is where it always goes wrong. Not because the person is wrong, not because you don't want connection, but because your emotional history is louder than your present reality. You learned early that love was unpredictable. Maybe the people who were supposed to love you were the same people who hurt you. Maybe affection came with conditions. Maybe the attention you received was temporary, unstable, or disappeared without explanation. Maybe you were only loved when you were quiet, easy, useful, impressive, or perfect. So now, when someone comes close and tries to love you without requiring you to earn it, something in you doesn't trust it. You can't relax into it. You don't know if you should hold it or run before it slips away. That's the hidden truth. You don't push people away because you want to be alone. You push them away because you're terrified of being left while you're still holding on. It is easier to let go first than to be the one holding the pieces after someone else walks away. There's a specific fear behind this behavior, a fear most people never see. The fear of being fully known, fully seen, and then rejected anyway. If they leave before they really know you, it hurts. But if they leave after they see all of you, the insecurity, the softness, the history, the parts of you you don't like, that pain is unbearable. So you do something to control it. You make the exit happen on your terms, even if it breaks you. You distance first. You lose slowly, so it won't hurt all at once. That's what people misunderstand. The pushing away is not rejection. It's self-defense from a loss you already believe is inevitable. People say, just let them in. But they don't understand that letting someone in feels like giving them the weapon that could destroy you. You think you're protecting your heart, but the truth is, you're protecting a younger version of yourself, the one who loved without caution and paid for it with a wound that never fully closed. Maybe you were the child who learned that love meant unpredictability, a door slamming, a voice raised, a parent leaving, a smile disappearing. Maybe you were the teenager who gave your heart to someone who dropped it without warning. Maybe you were the friend who cared too deeply, and the care was never returned. Every memory gets stored inside the body like data. So now, when love approaches, your mind doesn't see the person. It sees the risk. You don't think, what if this goes well? You think, what if this is just like last time? People say love requires vulnerability. But what if vulnerability once meant disaster? Some people grew up in homes where emotions were never safe, where speaking up led to punishment, where asking for love made you needy, where crying made you dramatic. So now, when someone asks, why don't you talk about how you feel? You don't know how to answer. Because you learned feelings weren't meant to be shared, they were meant to be hidden. You don't know how to let someone hold your pain because you were taught to carry it alone. And then there's the worst part. Some people don't push others away because they don't think the other person is good. They push them away because they don't think they are good enough to stay. They think, eventually they'll see the real me and leave. I'm too much. I'm too quiet. I'm not interesting enough. They'll get tired of me eventually. So instead of waiting for the abandonment, they schedule it themselves. Detachment becomes a form of emotional insurance. If you never fully let someone in, they can't fully break you when they leave. This is what self-protection looks like when it's confused with self-worth. A person who pushes others away is not emotionally unavailable. They are emotionally overprotected. They've built a wall that keeps hurt out, but it also keeps love out. That's the paradox. You crave connection, but fear what it takes to keep it. You want intimacy, but hate how vulnerable it makes you feel. You want to be understood, but refuse to be seen fully enough for someone to understand you. And the most heartbreaking part is, you know you're doing it. You see yourself shutting down. You see yourself ignoring messages, avoiding closeness, giving less than you feel. You watch the distance grow, and you hate it. You're not cold. You're scared. You're not heartless. You're protecting a heart that still remembers the last time trust cost too much. People say, just open up, as if opening up is a door you can unlock with a sentence. But they don't understand that for you, opening up feels like taking off armor in a battlefield where you've already been wounded once. And maybe that's why the right person won't just ask you to open up. They'll make you feel safe enough to stop fighting yourself. Because pushing people away is not the disease. It's the symptom. The real wound is what happened the last time you stayed. The last time you loved without fear. The last time you let someone close enough to hurt you. And you've been trying to survive love ever since. But here's the quiet truth you don't always realize. Every time you push someone away to protect yourself, you also push away the version of yourself that still believes you are capable of being loved without being abandoned. That version is still there, still waiting, still hoping, still learning that the world won't end if someone sits close enough to see the cracks. Because maybe the real healing begins the moment you stop asking, what if they leave? And start asking, what if this time they don't? The thing about pushing people away is that it doesn't start in adulthood. It starts in the first place you ever learned what closeness felt like: childhood. Nobody is born afraid of connection. Babies don't hesitate to reach out, to be held, to be seen. The fear begins when love becomes unpredictable. When the people you depended on for safety, comfort, and belonging became the same people who frightened you, ignored you, or changed without warning. That's where the nervous system first learns the difference between love that feels safe and love that feels dangerous. And the human brain is wired for one thing above all else: survival. So when closeness becomes linked to pain, the brain doesn't forget. It builds a defense system. It doesn't matter if you're 6 or 26, the wiring stays. The body remembers. Psychologists call it avoidant attachment, but that sounds cold and academic. In reality, it's not avoidance. It's emotional self-defense disguised as independence. People with avoidant patterns don't lack the capacity for love. They lack the safety required to trust it. To the outside world, they look distant, uninterested, too detached to care. But inside, they feel everything just quietly, privately, and in ways no one else sees. What looks like indifference is actually fear. What looks like calm is actually suppression. And what looks like not needing anyone is usually a person who learned that needing people leads to disappointment. So they build distance, not because they don't want connection, but because they don't know how to stay whole inside it. The brain of someone who pushes people away is always scanning for danger in closeness. Did their tone change? Do they sound less enthusiastic today? Did they text shorter than usual? Did they seem distant? Avoidant people don't wait to be abandoned, they're always preparing for it. They don't want to be surprised by loss, so they create it before it arrives. This is one of the most misunderstood parts. They don't sabotage relationships because they don't care. They sabotage them because they care too much and can't control the outcome. Leaving first feels like protection. Emotional distance feels like safety. Making the bond weaker feels like making the heartbreak smaller. To them, love isn't relaxing. It's risky. And the deeper the connection, the deeper the fear. That fear goes back to emotional blueprinting. If you grew up with caregivers who were cold, dismissive, distracted, or emotionally unavailable, you learned love felt like longing. You learned that closeness required self-denial. You learned that opening up only gave people more ways to hurt you. But if you grew up with caregivers who were inconsistent, loving one moment and withdrawn the next, then you learned something even more complicated. Love is unstable, affection is unpredictable, security can disappear. And once you internalize that, you don't stop wanting love, you just become afraid of depending on it. Sometimes the pattern is born from humiliation. Maybe the first time you opened up, someone laughed. Maybe the first time you expressed need, you were shamed. Maybe the first time you trusted someone with your heart, they used it as leverage. And now vulnerability feels like exposure, honesty feels like weakness, and needing someone feels like handing over a weapon they could use against you later. So now you speak in half-truths. You give 60% and keep the rest safe. You let people close, but not close enough to touch the parts of you that still carry pain. People say, "You're so emotionally distant," but they don't see the full picture. Distance isn't absence, it's protection. Detachment is not a lack of love. It is love with a locked door. It is connection filtered through fear. It is intimacy interrupted by memory. Some people don't push others away because they hate being seen. They do it because they've only ever been seen by people who judged them, punished them, or left. So now love doesn't feel like warmth. It feels like danger wearing a kind face. And the mind adapts. It builds quiet coping strategies. Don't rely too much. Don't ask for help. Don't confess feelings first. Don't get too excited. Be the one who cares less. That's the biggest lie of avoidant behavior, the idea that they don't care. They do care. They just care in silence. They love in ways that don't expose them. They show it through actions, not words. Through presence, not confessions. Through loyalty, not emotional expression. They don't say, "I need you," but they stay, watch, protect, support, as long as it doesn't require emotional undressing. What looks like coldness is usually restraint. What looks like distance is usually fear of being too much. What looks like "I don't need anyone" is usually "I don't believe anyone will stay if they really know me." Avoidant people are not emotionally blind. They notice everything. They feel deeply. They're just experts at burying emotions before anyone else can see them. And the irony? They don't actually want to be alone. They just want connection without the cost of vulnerability. They want someone to stay without needing to risk being fully known. They want safety and intimacy at the same time, but their past has taught them those two things don't coexist. So they create relationships with emotional breaks. They keep exits unlocked. They stay close enough to feel something, but far enough to escape if it starts to hurt. It's not that they can't love. It's that they've only known unsafe love. Here's the truth. Psychologists don't always say out loud, when you push people away, the pain is not in the distance. The pain is in the belief that you were never safe enough to stay close. That's the root. You don't fear people. You fear letting yourself depend on them. You fear handing over trust you might never get back. You fear investing in a bond that life might rip away the moment you start to feel secure. The mind of someone who pushes others away is not thinking, "I don't want love." It's thinking, "I can't survive another wound this deep." So how does the healing begin? Not with force, not with "just open up," not with someone demanding closeness before the nervous system is ready. Healing begins with safety, emotional safety, relational consistency, someone who doesn't run when you pull back, someone who doesn't punish your silence, someone who doesn't take your distance personally, someone who says, "I'm not leaving," and means it not with words, but with presence. Because avoidant people don't heal by talking. They heal by experiencing someone who proves love doesn't always turn into pain. You can't unlock them with pressure. You unlock them with patience. They learned love was unsafe from people. They will only unlearn it through people, slowly, gently, without force. And one day, maybe quietly, maybe unexpectedly, the moment comes when they don't pull away, when they let someone stay close and don't panic. When they don't rehearse an exit, when they don't sabotage the good thing before it begins. When instead of asking, "What if they leave?" they finally ask, "What if this time I don't have to?" Because the truth is, the heart never wanted distance. It wanted safety. And once it finds safety, it doesn't push people away anymore. It lets them in not because it stopped being afraid, but because for the first time, it doesn't have to protect itself alone.